Good evening. I'm Mark Fraze, Principal of Stonington High School. And tonight, with my colleagues, Associate Principal Alicia Daw, Assistant Principal Margot Crowley, and Interdisciplinary Coordinators Jean Bradanini, Manny McDonald, and Sue Prince, we'd like to present to you our presentation, Your Child, Your High School, and What You Can Expect at Stonington High School. We're very proud of everything we do here at Stonington High School. And we have many opportunities that we have available for your kids as they come to the high school. We spend a lot of time making sure that we have an individualized education process for all of our students. But really the best ambassadors for our programs here are our students. So here's one of our presentations that we put together for our NEASC accreditation just a few short years ago.
Welcome to Stonington High School, a place where students are taught to convince, communicate, consider, and connect. From the moment you become a student, you are treated like the individual that you are. The outstanding teachers demonstrate different types of teaching styles to accommodate your best learning skills. Whether it's in theater, math, science, language, studio art, or music, you will graduate Stonington High School with the ability to succeed in your interests.
I'm Hannah Lamb. I've been in jazz band at middle school and high school since 5th grade. I've been in wind ensemble and jazz bands and marching band and pep band and steel drums ensemble, but there's also concert band, flag squad. There's anything for anyone who wants to get involved in any way.
One of the greatest aspects of Stonington is the array of clubs that you can be a part of. There are copious amounts of ways to get involved in the school and in the community.
Today we're at the New London Food Bank helping sort through food that people will later need, and we're helping sort out the good food from the bad food.
When I transferred to Stonington High School my sophomore year, I was very eager to start a community service club. The administration was very open to new suggestions and ideas and fully supported the construction of my new club. What I've discovered at Stonington High School is that if you have the desire to initiate something new, your peers and the faculty are excited and willing to help you turn that idea into an action. Another great way to get involved is through one of our many athletic teams.
My name is Martin Burnett. I play soccer and I do indoor and outdoor track. One thing I love about Stonington High School is how everybody has an equal opportunity to participate on various sports teams.
My name is Anamika Patel, and I play soccer, indoor track, and lacrosse. The coaches here at Stonington High School value your academic and athletic success, and they care about your well-being on and off the field.
A crucial portion of your senior year is devoted to your senior project. You are required to have 15 hours of work with a mentor and include journals and a research paper.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kilcoyne, and for my senior project, I co-directed a musical with Aaron Stanley in East Lyme, Connecticut through East Lyme Regional Theater. And it was a really great experience for me. It really opened me up to a bunch of kids who I'm still close with. And what I did basically was we rehearsed dances, music, and musical numbers and put on a musical in January of 2017. So even though the senior project, there's a lot to do, it's good stuff and it really helps you take on a lot of responsibility, which you'll need for college. So, yeah.
At Stonington High School, passions are discovered and individuality flourishes. You will leave prepared for your future, and you will always be a unique member of the Bear community. Welcome to Stonington High School.
All right, our mission at Stonington High School is to really prepare our students to be contributing members to the global society after they leave here. Our plan is to make sure that they have the foundation and the tools in order to have a really solid idea of what they can accomplish and what they want to accomplish as they leave here. Part of that process is what we call our 4 C's. These are our universal learning skills that we have embedded into all of our courses. It's not just important to learn the ins and outs of all of the content from all the classes, but most importantly, how can they use that to better themselves and their lives? So we have our 4 C's where we have the students learn how to use their understanding of the content to convince and consider, communicate and connect all of the learning they have in the classes to the real world. Can they collaborate with individuals and communicate what they need and what they must do? Can they convince people, based on their understandings of their knowledge that, why somebody should or should not do something? Do they consider all different aspects of their learning as they design and implement a solution? And finally, as they connect all of their learning to the outside world. And so we're very proud that we have all of these abilities embedded in our courses, and it makes our students much more well-rounded as they leave Stonington High School. The 4 C's in the curriculum look very different based on the courses, but it's not just the curriculum where these 4 C's are seen. We do have a community service requirement where all of our students, grades 9 through 11, have to contribute 10 hours of community service. During their senior year, this criteria is met through their senior project. As I said with the 4 C's, they're embedded in all of our courses in various assignments. We want the teachers to look for various opportunities within a course to demonstrate how the learning from that particular content area is going to help students explore new avenues and new possibilities as they exit. We do have a summer assignments that your incoming freshmen will be doing for the new school year. Each group, as they in the successive years, will also have to do a 4C assignment. And these summer assignments are not necessarily academic based as you might think. What they're really designed to do is to demonstrate to the students that everything is a learning opportunity. And then the culminating activity is the senior project at the end of their 4 years here, where they have to take everything they learned and we have them create a project where they're going to stretch themselves a little bit to expand where they have been to where they're going, and really look for different opportunities and different learning opportunities to help prepare them as they leave here. These things have been very advantageous for many of our students. They've used this senior projects. Some people have actually used it to weed out post-high school plans. As an example is one student who did their project and decided that, well, that major is not for them as they go into college. So in the end, it really potentially saved them a lot of money because they did not go into a college program that they would find out later that they really weren't as matched. That wasn't a good match for them. Going back to that summer assignment, your freshmen will be targeting the convince for their 4C. And as it states in this slide, they really just pick an experience that they happen to have during the summer. It could be anything, a book, a movie, and they're going to come in to their freshman year and they're going to talk with their classmates and they're going to share what it is about that thing that they liked and what they can do with it. It's and as I said, these summer assignments are really to promote the idea that everything is a learning opportunity and you should take advantage of every experience that you have. During the first week of the school, they will be presenting those to their home base and to their advisory group. These are our new graduation requirements. They were set in place for the class of 2023. This was a state requirement where they mandated a spread of credits across the various disciplines. We have a yearly requirement that freshmen take 7 credits. And as you see throughout their 4 years here, they're going to have a broad understanding of all the content. Being a comprehensive high school, we're very proud of the foundation we provide our students as they go off into their post high school years. And we feel that these courses and these requirements are a very important part of that. Just as an example, some of the required classes, we have a civics class, which you're going to be hearing about, from our humanities coordinator. But we also have, personal finance credit because we feel that it's important for every student to have some aspect of handling money. So, We have a tech credit where we require that all of our students at least have one course that is driven by a computer-based program, because nearly every job or career that they might take is going to incorporate some sort of computer. And then we also want our students to be well-rounded, so there is an art or music requirement for all of our students. And as I mentioned earlier, there is that senior project and community service component as part of the graduation requirements as well. Now, this is a graphic for our foundation of our academic programs. As they leave middle school, they come here, and the thing that I want to point out with this slide is that all of our pathways are preparatory for both college and career. Obviously, we have a selection of honors courses and AP courses, which are going to be necessary if your student is going to be looking for one of those more selective four-year colleges. But all of our courses are preparatory for college. The one thing that we really stress when we look at our course selection, and Mrs. Crowley is going to talk about this a little bit more when she comes on, is that it's important that we make sure kids are put into the right class. Not everyone is an honors student coming into freshman year. They might be honors, might be prepared for honors courses in some disciplines, but maybe not all of them. Especially with this year coming in after pretty much a year of virtual learning and or hybrid learning, we have to be very, very careful that we put kids in the proper courses that they're ready for, because the worst thing that we could see or that we would want to have for our students as they come in to start their high school career is that they're mismatched into a course that they're just not ready for. All right, and then that's going to be part of our job, is to work with you to make sure that all of our students are assigned the right course for them. Just to give you an idea of what the differences are for those levels, all the college career classes, reading materials at grade level, there is support available for those students who need it. In fact, many of our classes have a support teacher in the classroom. The honors classes, which they could possibly take as freshmen and sophomore, will lead to AP and ECE classes in their junior, senior years. They're a little bit higher reading level. The complexity of material is a little bit higher, but the real thing that makes it different from the college career is that it's much more accelerated pace. Right, so we want to make sure that the students that are assigned those classes are ready for that pace. And so there'll be a lot of questions that both the counselors and the 8th grade teachers are going to be asking themselves and the students on, to ensure that they recommend courses that are appropriate for the individual students. And just keep in mind, once they get up here, we have the ability to move laterally. We do it all the time. Sometimes we see somebody's just nailing the regular college career class, so we're going to challenge them to take honors. Sometimes we might make that change at a semester time, but most of the time we'll be evaluating at the end of the year and looking for the next year whether or not they should change level. And I know the question that always comes to us, at the end of 8th grade, and I firmly understand this question, being a former 7th and 8th grade math teacher at Mystic Middle, is, we know and understand the fact that, that 7th grade math placement is a very important aspect of where they are when they come into high school. We have the ability to work with you and your student on those in order to make sure that they're challenged and ready for whatever college they should choose or whatever career they should choose as they leave high school. We know that not every kid needs to be in calculus by the time they hit senior year. Sometimes pre-calculus is a perfect landing spot and has nearly every potential college program is going to be available if they're up to pre-calculus as a senior. So we will be, that'll be something that we talk about, with you as we go forward in their high school career to make sure that they are ready. What we don't want is to have somebody in a class that they're not ready for, and then their love and desire to do well in math is hindered because they just have that really difficult time for that period. So we want to make sure we get them matched as best we can. So as I said, this developing a foundation is that key component. Being a comprehensive high school such as we are, which makes us different from the magnet schools and the tech schools, is that we are trying to provide that broad-based foundation for all of our kids so that when they are ready to leave here, they have the ability to go wherever their desires point them. Right? Most kids don't know what they want to be when they grow up, especially when they come here as a freshman. So that broad foundation is going to allow them the ability to make changes and make different academic pathways as they get older, and they're going to be able to do that because they have a broad foundation instead of just being focused in one particular area. One of the things that you're going to be hearing about tonight and through the next 4 years is that we do have a number of career pathways available that are outside the general academic core areas. We try to tailor the students' course selections on their desires based on what jobs or career pathways they might think that they're thinking about enrolling in. So, we're going to talk about all the different business classes. We're going to look at all the different tech classes that we have. We are focusing some of our efforts into manufacturing now, where we have a relationship with the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board, where some of our students who go to our manufacturing program will have specific job placement assistance when they graduate, immediately after graduation. We're looking to start a childcare program, and hopefully in the next couple of years, we're even looking at trying to get a CNA type of program here. So we're really focused on both college and careers as they start going through their high school years here at Stonington High School. One of the things you're going to be hearing about, over the next couple of years, and the counselors do a great job of making sure that students are looking forward as they select courses. We have a number of college programs and such available within the school and outside of the school that you'll hear about extensively through the next couple of years as they start working their way up through the years at the high school. One of the things that we've kind of capitalized with this pandemic that we're in right now is we had 11 kids who took part of their senior year at a college, where they actually did a dual enrollment, and what their courses they took at college were actually our final courses for their graduation requirements here. So they did their senior and freshman years at the same time. So that's very exciting, and that's something that we're going to be building on in the future. And we also had the ability to have 8 kids graduate at the semester. So once again, the individualized education programs that we come up with here for our kids at Stonington High School have been incredible, and they've been really focused on the individual, and because we know that every student is different, and we're going to make sure that we provide what every student needs. We have a lot of authentic learning practices. We have an on-site credit union, though I will be upfront with you. I don't know necessarily if that's going to be staying here in the future. There's not a lot of brick and mortar banking going on anywhere in the world right now, so I don't know if that is a program that will be maintained here at the high school. But we have writing programs with the Sojourn Writing magazine, the Brown and White, which is our school newspaper, and our yearbook, the Palmistonian. We have a selection of internships and job shadowing opportunities that are available. We have made a great number of community and business partners that actually take our students for half the day every other day during their senior year and let them get job experience and just exposure to different careers as part of their high school program. And once again, all on the idea of personalizing their studies. All right, so now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Associate Principal, Ms. Daw.
Evening, everyone. Even though I can't see you, I have been scrolling through the names, and I want to say hello to my former staff and some of my former parents. And Meredith, please don't tell the staff anything that I'm about to say to you right now, but it really is awesome here at the high school. It really is. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. And more importantly, I'm absolutely thrilled to see former parents and not only my former students, but students I had in class at Dean's Mill and as an administrator. So welcome, and I'm thrilled to be here. And I'm going to go very quickly because I know most of the parents on this Zoom are really interested in the courses and hearing from guidance and our ICs. So I will go real quick. Core values here at the high school. And honestly, all these core values actually apply K through 12. But one of the things that's not listed on here that is such a takeaway for me as being new to the high school is the personalized learning here. One of the things that we do and focus on so much K through 8 in this district, and for those of you who don't know me, I've been in this district for 25 years. And I started off as an intern, a para, a tutor, a teacher, et cetera, et cetera. So, and K through 8, it's very personalized. But when you come to the high school, it is the same. I am so impressed with the way the guidance department, the teachers, the ICs really focus in on all of our students, but as important, our freshmen coming in here. So I want you to be assured that we do take care of our freshmen when they come here. And as the year goes, I have been part of many meetings with parents and students of our freshmen. And they are here for you 24/7. And the staff is so collaborative. And that's my biggest takeaway as a newcomer to the high school. Next, Mr. Freeze. All right, so while we're waiting for Mr. Freeze to forward to the next slide, thank you. I'm very proud. We should be on the opportunities, but we'll skip to athletics. So one of the things I'm sure you have heard, because there is a lot of chatter, are the athletics. And just so you know, we are governed, or we take all of our guidance from not only the CIAC and the ECC, but primarily right now from the Department of Health. So, you know, we have tried our hardest every season this year so far to, you know, start and have our sports teams, but we are governed and take guidance from the Department of here at the high school. One of the things we started here was the voice program, which I'm sure you have heard about. We started it at the elementary schools in grades 4 or 5. We have brought it to the middle school, and we're currently doing it here at the high school. And it really embraces climate, culture, partnership, tolerance of others. We also have a period of time that was new to me coming to the high school called task block and home base. Task block and home base, you're going to hear a lot about that from your child when they come home, is the same period throughout the day. It's a period that never changes, and it's the same teacher that they will have all year. And during that time, students are receiving advisory, social emotional learning, voice activities. They're also using that time to meet with their guidance counselor. They also meet with other teachers for intervention. The other piece that's new this year is Safe Schools. It is an online platform for courses that the students are taking throughout the year. Right now, there are 4 webinars that the students have taken so far. We also have a student advisory group that our students participate in, and that's really a group where the students meet with the administration and we ask for their feedback, and we meet monthly, and we sort of kind of go over the climate and the culture of the high school. Now, the other thing that will change a little bit this year is 8th grade orientation. So we got some feedback from parents of current freshmen on how to improve upon and do things differently for our 8th graders and our freshmen obviously coming in. So this spring, we will meet with our 8th graders. Right now, it will be virtual, but we're hoping to do it in person. Then come fall, and when I say fall, I mean August, we will be meeting with our 8th graders, our incoming freshmen, for Link Crew, but we'll also be spending some more time with them doing other activities based on some feedback that we had received from parents.
We can also upswing. Now forward.
Okay. So our special ed coordinator, Andrea Nardone, is not here this evening. So what I want you to know is if your child receives special services and has an IEP or a 504, those same services will carry on here. It's just a continuation. We have several different programs to meet each of your students' needs. We have obviously inclusionary classes. We have a learning advancement center that we call LAC. We also have clinical LAC, and that's an environment where students meet specifically with special education teachers. And we also have another room called clinical LAC, where they meet with a special ed teacher, but they're also receiving social emotional support. We have self-contained classes. We have community classrooms, TLC. We have vocational opportunities as the students that are age appropriate for ages 16 to 18. And obviously we have a mental health team, Miss Maureen Masson and Evelyn Bridges, our school psychologist and social worker. Obviously we have special ed support, and the point of contact for any special ed related questions is Andrea Nardone. But of course you can email Mr. Fries, myself, Mrs. Crowley, if you have questions regarding special ed services. And the same process applies when you transition to a new grade level and a new school, whether it's K through 12. This summer, you will receive a letter from your child's new case manager introducing themselves as a new case manager, and then going over the services of your child moving forward. So, and that is it for me. So I am looking forward to seeing all of my former students and parents as the year goes on. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Mr. Fries.
Hi, I'm up. Hi, everybody. I'm Margot Crowley. I am the Assistant Principal of Guidance. First question to panelists, am I echoey? Am I good? Okay. So welcome to Stonington High School. This is definitely one of the highlights of our year is meeting all of you and welcoming you to the high school. So I want to talk about a few things. One is what the guidance department at the high school does. And I want you to think of us as you and your child's GPS. We help you navigate through high school. That's how I want you to think of us. We're here for you to help with all aspects of the high school program, of being in high school. For some of you, this is your first time your child is coming to high school. For others, it's, it could be second, third, fourth, fifth child that you have at the high school. And as you know, every high school experience is different for every student. So it's like starting all over again. It's put your seatbelt on, you're gonna, 4 years of wild ride is coming your way, just with your child's development more than anything else. It's fun. And I mean, Alicia said a lot of the great things that we do here. We're really proud of a lot of things. So the guidance department, I think the most important thing moving forward is everybody's social and emotional well-being, adults, students alike. And we will focus primarily on that with your children as they come into the high school next year. It's an unusual situation we're all in, so we will do our best to help all of us. that is primarily the basic thing that we will do. Also, one of our biggest roles right now is the course selection and transitioning your children to the high school. Once they get here, it's funny. A lot of the things that Mr. Freeze was saying, and we talk about this a lot. You're not even here yet, and we're already talking about what you can do when you leave and how we're going to prepare your children to leave, and they're not even in the building yet. But that's what high school is all about. It's preparing students for the future and for their lives. Can you go to the next slide, please? So that is we do spend a lot of time their freshman year. Once they're here and they're acclimated, we will dive into some career research, career selection, career interest inventories to help them try to figure this out. And that all ties into what classes they're going to take while they're in high school, what their interests are, and it helps them prepare for as they move on throughout high school and then their lives. And again, a lot of the things that you're going to see on the next couple slides are things that will happen their junior and senior year, but these are just opportunities. I want you to know now, opportunities that your children will have while they are at Stonington High School. Okay. When it comes time for post-secondary education and post-secondary plans, one of the things we pride ourselves on in the guidance department is everybody leaves with a plan. And some kids go to college, some kids go to work, some kids go in the military, but everyone leaves here with knowing what they're going to do the day after graduation. And that is something that we take to heart, and we individualize, as you've heard a lot of, and you'll start to be very clear as to what that is as you go through Stonington High School. But all of these things that we will help you with, your guidance counselor will help you with the college application process, financial aid, scholarships, all of those things, filling out job applications. We have students that are going to, hopefully they're in the pipeline manufacturing program, and they could start at EB. We've had kids go right from high school to electric boat, and we help with that whole process too, and that whole transition. So again, here we are talking about what's happening in 4 years, and you're not here yet. So let's get to the things that you're here for. So the course selection process. Mr. Freeze, if you can go to the next slide, please. Yes. Okay, here is the timeline for this. Here we are kicking off tonight, the whole process. For the next week or so, the middle school counselors will be making recommendations for your children. And if your child is not at Stonington Middle School right now, and you're zooming in on this from a friend's link or something, then just email me and we'll work with you. St. Mike's, where we have a plan for you, and it's similar to this. So the teachers are making recommendations. The counselors tomorrow and Friday, I will be meeting virtually with all of the 8th graders in their classes, and on Monday with the St. Mike's students in their classes virtually. And it's basically to go over a lot of the things that we're talking to you about, and to help them think about exactly what classes they're going to take. Then the students will meet, they'll talk to their teachers, they'll talk to all the parents, they'll talk to the counselor, and figure out what is the best class for them to be successful. And Mr. Freeze nailed it before. He said that not everybody needs to you don't have to take 5 honors classes as a freshman to be successful at Stonington High School. We want you to take the classes, we want your children to take the classes they're comfortable in, that they excel in. And it can be only 2 or 3, or it could be no honors classes at all. And kids can still be very successful. And we can talk about that individually at length at any time. You can email any of us, and we can help you with the decision of what classes to take. So that's in the next month or so throughout this whole process. By the end of March, everything will be into Power School. All the course selections will be into Power School. And it's not first come, first serve. So it's not, if your child puts theirs into the Power School next week, they're going to get their choices. That's not the way it works. Everybody, all the 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, and 11th graders, they'll be working in Power School, putting all of their information into Power School, and then the computer will generate some schedules. And it's a process. The freshmen, they will be getting a sheet that looks like this. They will be getting, this is their course selection sheet, and it lists the classes that the freshmen take. It is posted on our website right now. the freshmen take 7 credits. Now, one of the biggest, there's 2 huge differences from middle school to high school. One is credits. Every class is worth the credit. And as parents, we know that. We've all been through high school and we understand the credit process. You need 25 credits. That slide was up earlier. The other thing is the timing of school. School starts at 7:25. That's a whole nother issue that we'll deal with in a little while, but that's a big change for the middle schoolers as well. But credit-wise, your child will, you and your child will choose a total of 7 credits that they'll take for the whole school year. And that allows for a study hall, 1 study hall in both semesters. And study halls are a necessity, and they help the students, especially as freshmen, make sure that they're getting all their work done, they're staying on top of things. And as they go on, they might not have to take another study hall if they don't want to, but usually every kid has a study hall at least one time in one time a year. What do we tell the kids? We tell them to challenge themselves, but not overextend and over challenge themselves. We also tell them not to follow the advice of their friends. So they could be, their best friend might want to go into business, but I like music. So I'm not going to do what my best friend is doing just to be with my best friend. So that's hard. I'll be honest with you. That's very hard as freshmen. They want to stay with their friends, but we all know that that's not the best thing for them. So that's one of the things that we will help them figure out, especially with course selection. If they have different interests, they need to go out and pursue those interests, which leads back to what are they interested in for career-wise. And as freshmen, we do our best to give them the classes that they want, but as you know, classes fill up and they may not get they might not get photography as a freshman. But if they don't get it, they'll get it eventually by the time they graduate from high school. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, this is a typical day, typical schedule of a freshman. Now, just so you know, we have an A day and a B day. So we're on an every other day schedule. Students have 4 classes a day. So this is just an example of a schedule. So on A day, they might have English, biology, language, and then an elective. They might have art, music, they might have a class there. That's on, say, Monday. On Tuesday, they come in and they have math, they have PE, they have modern world history, and they have a study hall. So that could be an example of their schedule. 4 classes a day, which is actually another big difference for them. They're used to having more classes in a day. And the thing with the 4 classes, this is called a block schedule, an AB block. That's the type of schedule that we're on. And because they only have 4 classes a day, they only have homework that night for 4 classes. So it's critical, and we tell them this over and over, that you do your homework, you do your A-day homework the day you get it. So technically, if you have class on Monday and you have English, and the teacher gives you your English assignment and it's not due till Wednesday, some kids may say, oh, I'll do it Tuesday night. But Tuesday night, they may forget. So we drill it into their heads to do it the night you get it. And then that way, they also, the night they get it, if they have questions, the next day they can reach out to the teacher and get help with those. So basically, that's the typical day for students, 4 classes a day. Like I said, the classes start 7:30, they're in class. So if you back that up a little bit, they get to school buses drop them off between 7 and 7:15, which means they're getting picked up 6:30-ish, depending on where you live in town. So it is an adjustment for them, especially now when many of them are sleeping later or going to bed later. So in the summer, get them on a schedule, get them up early, get them going in the morning. So again, they're going to take 7 credits. Now, when we meet with them to go over this, and we're meeting virtually, and I partly saw a question that came up about the distance students. We're doing this with the virtual students as well. This whole process is they're part of it. But we're going to ask them to choose more electives than they need. In case they don't get an elective that they want, then we can go down the line of their priorities of electives. So we will talk to them about that and how to pick the electives that they want. But again, when you're thinking about the whole year, they need 7 credits total. Now, some classes are full credits and some classes are half credits. So like PE, you only take it in one semester. So the semester starts on September 7th, the first day of school, and it ends after the end of the first semester. That's a half a credit. And then that's done, they're done with PE. And then they may take health in the second semester. But their English class, you know, starts on the first day of school and goes until the last day of school. And that's a 1 credit class. So that's how you have to think about it. And that's what we're going to be teaching them and telling them. The other thing that's online is our opportunities book. And our opportunities book lists every class that is offered at Stonington High School in a description of every class. So freshmen, you'll see a very big discrepancy on the sheet that they come home with in the opportunities book. There's less on this sheet because the freshmen don't get every class that are in the book. They're not ready for some of those classes. They're not ready for Spanish 4, so it's not on their sheet, things like that. Foods 1 is not on their sheet. It's a very, very popular class, and it fills up quickly with juniors and seniors. The freshmen usually don't like that right now, but when they're juniors and seniors, they like it. So we work with them. So those are some things to think about. So that opportunities book, you guys can peruse it. We're going to show the kids how to access that on the website and their course selection sheet. So that's where we're going in the next month. We're going to be working on all of these things. Once we receive your child's course selection sheet and they put their courses into PowerSchool, they can change their mind. You can change your mind, and at that point you'd be notifying us at the high school about that, and then we can make adjustments along the way. But that's the process there. Okay. So I think we're going to turn it over to the instructional coordinators.
There we go. I was waiting for someone to unmute me. Good evening, everyone. I'm Manny McDonald. I'm the STEM coordinator here at Stonington High School. Just wanted to kind of give you a preview as to what your freshmen can expect for courses coming in next year in the STEM department. We're going to Ms. Freeze, go to the next slide. Get to our first department here. So science, the science requirement for students will be 3 credits required for graduation. Most students end up taking 4, and you'll see in the 11th and 12th grade years, our science offerings are extensive. And, you know, we're fortunate to have so many different offerings and so many options and opportunities for kids. It's really exciting, you know, our science department and the types of courses they can take. And when they get to 11th and 12th grade, they can really tailor make, you know, their path as far as what their interests are and what their, you know, after school plans are at that point. You know, if they're interested in the environment, they can go into AP, environmental science with marine ecology. If they're more interested in a chemistry route, they have, you know, visions of working at Pfizer someday, they can take you know, a chemistry followed by an AP chemistry. Biological sciences, you know, especially if their interests are, you know, anything from physical therapy, they can go anatomy, physiology, exercise science. So they can really kind of choose their paths and really get fine-tuned in the 11th and 12th grades with what their interests are and what their plans are after school, or they can explore interests. Coming into 9th grade and 10th grade, there's 2 core requirements that the students will have to take, and that's, you know, biology coming into 9th grade, followed by physical science in 10th grade. There's a little room for some elective. 9th grade, we once in a while we're able to offer astronomy. It depends what the numbers look like, but that's something that the kids would have to be taking Algebra 1 concurrently with, because there is a lot of math involved with that. And it's the algebraic math, it's a requirement for that astronomy course, but that's all, you know, it depends on whether the numbers dictate whether they can do that or not. When they reach 10th grade, they'll have the opportunity to start taking some AP classes if that interests them. There's the AP ECE biology, which can be offered in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and the AP environmental science. But obviously the regular biology is a prerequisite for that to start with. One of our most popular things that the kids take in science is the forensic science, which is kind of neat. It's kind of like a CSI class, and Mr. Smilinich, one of our teachers up here, runs that, and it's kind of all about solving crime, and it's a pretty neat course. And he has an interesting way of presenting it. So that's a very popular course. That usually falls into the 10th grade realm, but once the kids hit 11th and 12th, that's when the science horizons kind of broaden. But you can expect your child to be either recommended for biology or honors biology coming into the 9th grade, and then they'll follow their path. Mr. Freeze, you want to move on to math? Math, it's pretty much also, it's 3 credits also for graduation. Usually kids do take a 4th course their senior year. But that pathway, as Mr. Freeze alluded to before, it's kind of dictated by what they took as their 8th grade math course. You know, if they're in geometry now, they're going to enter that Algebra 1, Honors Algebra 1 pathway over on the right-hand side. You see, if they haven't taken geometry yet, they'll enter that probability and statistic geometry pathway on the left. Prob stats and geometry it's 2 kind of separate topics, but since geometry doesn't fill up that full year, it's pretty much a combined course. The kids will come in and take about a quarter worth or a little extra time after a quarter worth of that probability and statistics, and then it'll flow into the geometry, and they'll finish off the year doing that. So it is kind of 2 separate topics, but we combine it into one course, and that'll be their 9th grade math course, and then obviously Algebra 1 on the other side. And then it's kind of a linear pathway. Again, and there can be movement here and there between levels, but it's kind of a linear pathway until they reach that senior year where they can really, once again, explore what their interests are and kind of pick what path, you know, they're headed to. You know, vocational math is something that more of the career kids that are choosing that pathway choose to take. And Mr. Bound teaches that has some, it's more oriented to kids doing things like carpentry and design and things like that. Math for liberal arts, you know, some kids aren't going into any sort of field where, you know, math is needed. We have kids maybe going into art history or philosophy. Those kids would take that math for liberal arts, which would just keep them fresh in their math skills heading into, you know, their college. And then some kids will obviously focus on higher levels, calculus, AP calculus, or even pre-calculus. So there's a lot of movement in that 12th grade year where they can kind of decide their pathway, but up until that point, everything's kind of linear. So what you can expect coming into 9th grade next year, depending on what math they take this year and their recommendations, they'll either fall into that probability and statistics geometry course or into Algebra 1 or Honors Algebra 1 based on their recommendation from their 8th grade math teacher. And that's pretty much STEM headed into the 9th grade year. You can contact me if you have any questions, and I'm going to turn it over to Jean Bradnini. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jean Bradnini, and I'm the Humanities Interdisciplinary Coordinator. So I'm just going to go over some of the options that students will be able to take in their English, social studies, and world language courses. So the first courses we're going to talk about are the English courses, and the graduation requirement for our English courses is 4 credits. So this is something that is foundational to all their other courses, and as well as preparing them for college and career. Their 9th grade options are freshman English or freshman English honors. And as was talked about by both Mr. Freeze and Ms. Crowley, you know, students choosing these options, one, they are not stuck in these options for, you know, the next 4 years. There is a lot of movement and fluidity within the courses that they'll take for the next 4 years. But we cannot stress strongly enough that students need a healthy challenge in their courses, but also they need to be successful. So that's something that you know, your child will talk to their 8th grade teacher about. What is the best option, and you know, what is the course that is going to be best for them so that they are successful right at the start of their freshman year at high school. And similarly to the science and math, you know, our courses, you know, once they get through 9th and 10th grade, they open up into so many different options. And we've really been active in trying to provide more options, especially in the English department, beyond just, you know, the one, you know, junior or senior year options. So we've been able to open up with semester options that students will be able to take that will fulfill their English credits. For the social studies options, again, the graduation requirement is 3 credits, and CIA or AP Gov will meet the one required course from the state, which is the civics requirement. So students can take CIA or AP Gov, and those they don't need to take right away, but it is something that needs to be kept in mind as they're going through and planning their 4 years at Stonington High School. That's just something that they have to keep in mind will be a course they will need to fit into their schedule. For 9th grade courses, they have Modern World History and Modern World History Honors. These courses are going to set them up with not only content knowledge, but also the skills to be successful in the social studies courses for the next 4 years. Working on looking at research and writing in a social studies course. The 10th grade year, something to look forward to is a plethora of options for students. The way we have scheduled for our 4 years is that 10th graders have a lot of options with electives, and then 11th grade we have our US history options. This was where students can they can fulfill their CIA option, or they have lots of other courses that are very interesting. Stonington history, our ancient history, US conservation and preservation. We have courses on there that are very popular with students. And finally, for the world language options, our graduation requirement is 1 credit of world language. This is not something that most students will continue earning credits, but and have the option to get into the advanced classes for their 12th grade year. So based off of what students have done in their 7th and 8th grade courses, whether they were in French or Spanish, they can continue with that in French 2 or Spanish 2, or they can absolutely shift gears. If they took French for 7th and 8th grade and they want to take Spanish and start off on a Spanish track, they can absolutely do that. There's nothing saying that they have to stick with what they chose in 7th and 8th grade. And then that will continue, and it will be just a path that they can take for the next 4 years and get up to some advanced language courses.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sue Prince. I'm the Fine and Applied Arts Coordinator. And the Fine and Applied Arts world is where your 8th grader, soon to be 9th grader, will really get to explore some of their interests, or even things they think they might be interested in. You never know where a passion might be born, or as Mr. Free said earlier, sometimes it's equally important to find out that something you thought you would really like to pursue is maybe not as much something you would like to pursue. So for 9th graders, most of the introductory courses are available to them. But one thing I would recommend is for them to take a look at the advanced classes also. And if they see a class there that they think they might like to take, talk to their guidance counselor and figure out which of the introductory classes they might need to take to work toward taking some of those advanced classes. So in visual arts, they have the option of taking digital photography, drawing, foundations. Foundations would be really important if they're looking at some of the AP and ECE art classes later. They can take graphic design, painting, or pottery. Next slide, please. In music, the band and chorus options are there, as well as some music electives, which are all open to freshmen. Guitar, piano, history of rock, music theory, and music tech. If your student is interested in jazz band or chamber singers, they should register for regular concert choir or band. And after the audition process happens in the spring, Mrs. Gottlieb and Mr. Stanley would move that student into the chamber singers or the jazz band classes. Next, please. The business classes, entrepreneurship, marketing, and personal finance are all open to freshmen. Accounting isn't available until they're sophomores. The only requirement here, personal finance is a requirement for graduation. Other than that, it's open to where their interest might take them. A lot of these classes are also part of our CTE pathways that they'll talk about with their guidance counselors, which are clusters of classes around a certain topic. Next one. In health and PE, again, students are required 1 credit, so that's 2 classes of health, and 1 credit, which is 2 classes of PE. Most freshmen take their PE credit as freshmen. And then the foods classes, as Mrs. Crowley said, are not really available till they're juniors and seniors because of their limited availability. And next. And the tech ed department also covers a whole lot of departments. There's some art classes, there's some English classes, there's some science classes. And then there are some of the classes that are traditionally considered the tech ed department, such as the Woods and the CADS. Sorry, I can't swallow right now. And those classes, again, the introductory classes, the 9th grade electives are open to the students who are signing up. You'll also see classes that are listed in the other departments. They can either be an art credit or a technology credit. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Dahl, you wanted to jump in and add something real quick?
Yes. So before my laptop crashes again, one of the most important things for our well-rounded students, because we have amazing athletics here at the high school, we also have incredible clubs. At this time, we have 25 clubs here at the high school, 23 of which are active and are still meeting virtually, and they have found a way to do it. The reason I bring that up to so many of you, because I have 2 daughters in high school and 1 in middle school. They love sports, but they also have varied interests and love clubs. So you need to know as a parent, there is a club for every student in this school. There are 25, and I'm sure next year we'll probably have more. So what you can do, rather than going back and having my computer crash again, this whole presentation will be posted on our school's website. It'll be a YouTube link. So I encourage you at some point in time, you can meander through those. And again, those will be presented to your child during 8th grade orientation at the end of this year, and of course at the beginning of next year. So thank you.
Okay, and I'd just like to wrap it up with this final slide of why SHS. I think we have a very strong foundational program here that we have been able to be very successful and provide our students with the tools that they need to go wherever they decide to go. And we've had kids go to various colleges, Ivy League on down to Three Rivers. We have had people go straight to the careers. 2 years ago, we had 9 kids get hired by EB shortly after graduation. And all of this is because we have this community of learners where we have had, it's not only the teachers and everything in this building, but also our supporters and the community members who help with our kids and help them, give them guidance and provide them experiences that really help them make smart decisions about where they're going to go in the future. So as you look ahead, we're going to have that broad foundation. So they're going to be able to select different internships and cooperative work experiences. We're going to truly put their education plan together that is specific to them. We understand that kids are not the same, and we try to do our very best with the tools that we have here in the building to provide them what they need that's individualized to them. And if we don't have it, we're going to find it out in the community. We don't have a welding program here, but a couple of years ago, we were able to, put one of our seniors in contact with one of our local welders, and he spent this good part of his second semester working with him and learning with him in order to pursue that education. So it's all of us together that really make this place a special place, and we're really, really proud of what we have. And our kids leaving here, they expect success wherever they go, and we've been pretty fortunate that with the outcome of our students. We were recently announced this year that we were given a gold award by the Great American Schools.org because we have our students continue with their college and their college opportunities. One of the metrics that people look at is how many kids go off to college and go back their second year. And we have a pretty high success rate with our kids, going to college, having the grit to finish because of what they have experienced here and the experiences that we have provided them here. So with that, I think we can open it up to the questions, and we can look at a Q&A. If anybody has any questions, you can type it in there, and then we'll do our best to answer them. If not, we can get back to you. And if there are no questions, you feel free to put them in there. If you don't have any, we can't wait to meet you in person when we can. So thank you. Regarding the question about chamber choir, on the sheet, they will be instructed just to fill out for concert choir. When they're auditioned and if selected, we will change them to the chamber choir class for the next year.
Yes, we are planning for orientation to be in person. Absolutely. There's a question in the Q&A about time. Does the opportunities book include time for courses? Do we need to worry about selecting courses and electives that overlap in timing? No. The computer does that. There's only so many times in a day that a course could be offered, so the computer generates the schedule. So you do not have to worry about that. The question about traditional community service opportunities, yes, that has been a challenge for students. Normally, we don't allow students to do community service for families, for their home, for parents, like mowing the lawn. We don't think of that as community service. We think of that as a chore. But we have changed it up, and we are allowing students to do for others, period. So it could be family members, anybody, anything that works. But we want them to do something for someone else. So that's how we've changed it during this challenge of COVID. Okay. Is there a possibility of not being able to take electives selected based on timing? The only time that would be an issue is if your child is taking a class that conflicts with the time of an elective. So say there's only one chamber choir section and your child wants to take and their math classes at that time, that would be the only time that would be a conflict or something like that. That was just an example for what I'm giving you. So sometimes there's conflicts, not usually their freshman year. Those conflicts tend to happen more their junior or senior year, when some of the classes they're taking, we only have one section of them.
Okay, I'm going to put a last call out for questions. If you can go ahead and put them in the chat or on the Q&A, I would appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. It was great to have you all here.
I look forward to seeing and hearing from all of my former parents, and obviously looking forward to meeting new families and new faces. It was our pleasure, Philip.
All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and end this. And remember, at any time you have a question from this point on, you guys are all bearers with us. So feel free to email us directly if you have questions specific to the high school. If your questions are specific to the selection process and the recommendation, please go through the teachers and guidance at Stonington Middle School. But if it's programmatic type of questions, you want to know how things work and why we do certain things, please feel free to contact us at any time. All right. Thank you and have a great night. I appreciate all your time for coming.